Sister Wives star Janelle Brown mourns the death of close friend, shares how it reminds her of son Garrison's death. Today's story is another emotional chapter for Sister Wives star Janelle Brown. After enduring the heartbreaking loss of her son, Garrison Brown, Janelle is now mourning the death of a close friend, and she says this new loss has brought back powerful memories of losing Garrison. Grief is not something that simply disappears with time. Sometimes, it resurfaces. Sometimes, it echoes. And sometimes, another loss can reopen wounds you're still trying to heal. Today, we're going to talk about the passing of Janelle's close friend, her emotional message to fans, how grief can compound over time, and how she continues to navigate life after unimaginable loss. If you follow the Brown family from Sister Wives, you know this family has experienced tremendous change in recent years. But nothing compares to the pain of losing a child, and now, losing someone else close to your heart. Let's begin. Janelle recently took to social media to share that a dear friend had passed away. Her message was heartfelt and vulnerable. She spoke about the shock of losing someone who had been a steady presence in her life, someone who offered support, laughter, and companionship during difficult times. But what made her message especially poignant was this. She admitted that this new loss immediately brought her back to the grief of losing Garrison. She described how grief has layers, how one loss can stir up another, how memories don't stay neatly in the past, they resurface when you least expect them. For Janelle, this wasn't just about mourning a friend. It was about reliving a mother's heartbreak all over again. When Garrison passed away in 2024, it sent shockwaves through the Brown family and the show's fanbase. Viewers of Sister Wives had watched him grow up on screen. They had seen him navigate life in a plural family led by Cody Brown. They had witnessed family tensions, especially during the pandemic years. But his passing was more than a storyline. It was real. And for Janelle, grief didn't end after the funeral. Grief became part of her daily life. So when her friend died, it wasn't just another sad moment. It reopened the door to everything she had been carrying. There's a term psychologists use called compounded grief. It happens when someone experiences multiple losses in a relatively short period of time. Instead of processing one grief fully before the next arrives, the emotions overlap. They intensify. They blur together. Janelle hinted at this reality in her message. She spoke about feeling like she was back in that space. Back in the shock. Back in the disbelief. Back in that heavy silence that follows loss. This is something many people can relate to. When you lose someone, your heart becomes more sensitive to loss. You're more aware of how fragile everything feels. What makes this even more emotional is that this friend had reportedly been someone who supported Janelle during Garrison's passing. That adds another layer. This wasn't just a casual acquaintance. This was someone who stood beside her in her darkest hour. Losing someone who helped you survive another loss can feel like losing a lifeline. It's grief within grief. Being part of a long-running reality series like Sister Wives means that fans feel connected. They feel invested. They comment, send messages, and share condolences. And while support can be comforting, public grief can also be overwhelming. Janelle has always been seen as one of the more grounded, calm voices within the Brown family. But even the strongest person has breaking points. Her recent message didn't pretend she was strong. It didn't try to sound inspirational. It sounded honest, raw, human. Every loss impacts an entire family system. For the Brown children, who are still navigating their own grief over Garrison, seeing their mother mourn again may stir up complicated emotions. Grief doesn't move in a straight line. It circles back. It surprises you. And sometimes it arrives on an ordinary day, triggered by unexpected news. One of the most important things Janelle's message communicates is this. Healing isn't linear. There are good days. There are stable days. There are hopeful days. And then there are days when it all comes rushing back. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. Though Janelle didn't focus heavily on details, she shared qualities that stood out about her friend. Kindness, loyalty, a calming presence, humor during hard times. She emphasized gratitude, being thankful for the time they had together. That's often how grief evolves over time. From shock, to sorrow, to gratitude. It takes courage to share grief publicly, especially when you've already endured a tragedy that millions witnessed. Janelle didn't have to post anything, but she chose transparency. And in doing so, she allowed others to feel less alone in their own layered grief. What Janelle is experiencing is something many people go through quietly. When you lose someone close, your heart doesn't reset. It changes. Future losses hit differently. They feel heavier, more familiar, almost like déjà vu. Her message reminds us that grief is not something we get over. It's something we learn to carry. For Janelle Brown, this new loss is not separate from the past. It's connected. It's intertwined with the memory of her son. And while the pain may resurface, so does the love. Love for her friend. Love for Garrison. Love for the people still standing beside her. Welcome back. In part 1, we talked about how Sister Wives star Janelle Brown shared the heartbreaking news that a close friend had passed away, and how that loss reopened emotional wounds connected to her son, Garrison Brown. In this part, we're diving deeper. We're talking about why secondary loss can feel just as overwhelming, how trauma memories resurface, the emotional weight of losing someone who helped you through grief, and how Janelle continues to navigate life after unimaginable heartbreak. Let's continue. Grief has memory. It lives in the body. When Janelle said her friend's passing reminded her of Garrison, she wasn't just speaking metaphorically. Psychologists explain that traumatic grief can be reactivated by similar experiences: hospital visits, sudden news, phone calls in the middle of the night, or simply hearing about another death. The brain connects the dots. It remembers the shock, the disbelief, the moment everything changed. For Janelle, losing her son was life-altering. So when she experienced another loss, it likely triggered not just sadness, but flashbacks of that devastating time. What makes this even more emotional is that this friend reportedly stood by Janelle during her darkest moments. After Garrison's passing, Janelle leaned on close friends for strength. When you lose someone who helped you survive tragedy, it can feel like losing a piece of your healing journey. It's not just, I lost a friend. It's, I lost someone who held me together. That type of grief is layered. It's complex, and it can feel isolating. Fans of Sister Wives have often viewed Janelle as the practical, grounded voice in the Brown family. Even during her separation from Cody Brown, she appeared steady and thoughtful. But strength doesn't mean absence of pain. It often means choosing to move forward despite it. Her recent message didn't sound polished or performative. Reality stars are real people. If you'd like more thoughtful updates on the Brown family and Sister Wives, please like, comment, and subscribe.